Welcome back to week 3 of eCollar 101 presented by eCollar Technologies and myself, Ted Efthymiadis. Now what we're going to start to do is really start to push our dogs a little bit more. In the last 9 days or so of homework, hopefully you really put in the time and did the work, because now we really need that foundation to take us to the next level. So last week we were really alternating between the tone and the continuous, keeping our dog on their toes a little bit. Now we're going to change our expectations a little bit more. We'll be adding more distractions, and what we're going to be doing is using our tone the first time we give the command. If our dog does not comply with the command, we're going to transition over to our continuous stimulation, which typically is going to be a red button on your eCollar Technologies eCollar, at which point we're also going to start playing with our levels and adding more distractions. So let's get right into it. Getting into session 3 with Sasha. So I've got my dogs on one side of the fence, I've got Sasha on the other side of the fence. Now, the reason I have them over there is because I'm using them as a distraction. I've just thrown a bunch of food over there. If you've got a friend who has a backyard that's fenced in and you want to use their dogs as a distraction, that's a great distraction to be able to work with. Now, Sasha is a very socially outgoing dog. She likes other dogs, she likes people. So I figured, heck, this would be a great distraction to be able to work with. Now these guys are pretty preoccupied, so as you can see, she's not super interested in hanging out with them, just because they're kind of off doing their own little thing. But this tends to be a pretty good distraction for the majority of dogs. So I'm just obviously working on my recall here, and as you can see, she goes out of frame there and she actually goes over to her owner, and she's very excited. So what we're doing here is every time we recall her, we're hitting our tone button. For the most part, she is coming on that initial tone, at which point we are just giving her lots of praise and lots of affection when she comes. Now, if she doesn't come, we're also adding the red continuous button if we need to. So right here, I give a tone. She doesn't want to come back, so I just tap on my continuous there. You can see she comes right back to me, and she gets her treat. Now Sasha's doing really well with her recall, so we're continuing to use the distraction that we have. Her owner is just out of the frame there. She's doing really well. At this point, you'll notice that she's barely needing the red continuous button. She's doing the vast majority of her recalls at this point just with the tone, and she's coming back for her treats. We're trying to make things really fun for her and trying to keep her engaged. So because Sasha was doing really well with her recalls at the fence, we decided we would bring my dogs in here. She's very social, and we would increase the level of distraction just a little bit. She's still doing really well with her recall. For the most part, I'm just using the tone here to get her attention, and she's doing great with that. So one of the things to keep in mind here is strategically using this field where it's a 3-sided fence. Just to give the illusion that they're fenced in, but they're not actually. You know, we can definitely bring her a little bit closer to the areas that are not fenced in and start to work on some more realistic scenarios. So right here, I give just a little tap because she ignores the initial tone, and it gets her moving just a little bit quicker. Good job. So let's talk a little bit about levels. So Sasha works at about a level 8 out of 100 available levels. And as you'll see in this lesson, we literally are not increasing anywhere from an 8. I don't think in the entire process of working with Sasha, I go past a level 8. Keep in mind that that is not the norm. Typically, when you find that working level, as you start to add some distractions, you will start to increase your eCollar level a little bit depending on the level of distraction. Every dog is different, every dog is unique, so just keep in mind. If you are adding more distractions and your dog is just learning to blow you off, feel free to increase that level a little bit, and of course decrease also when the distractions decrease. On to week 3 with Larry. So Larry's back at the field. We've got our dogs on the other side of the fence. Now that's also pretty strategic because he is never been socialized with other dogs really. So We are still getting used to him being around other dogs and just feeling him out, see how he's doing with everything. As you can see, he is being a little bit stubborn against the tone right here. So I am adding a little bit of continuous stimulation. I'm just starting out at his pretty reasonably low working level of a level 4 out of 100 available levels. But as you can see, he kind of wants to go and follow his nose and do his own thing. So every time he comes back, I'm giving him some food, I'm giving him some praise, just trying to make it fun for him. But you can see his demeanor's dipping a little bit here as he's learning that he's not going to get what he wants. So at this point, I believe I'm up to about a level 7. Things are starting to become a little bit more intense as his distraction levels are increasing. There he comes around nice to the tone, does really, really well. And then he completely blows me off and starts focusing on the dogs. But that is dog training, it's never perfect. Okay, so Larry didn't seem all that interested in my dog, so I decided we would go over towards the more wooded area of the park and we would start using that as a distraction. So being the hunting dog that he is, he's learning that he can just go off on his own and follow his nose. So this is a big distraction for Larry. Of course, you want to find what's going to be distracting for your dog as well too and work within that. Tends to be doing pretty well with the tone here, giving him lots of praise and attention when he comes back, but as you'll see at points, he will get a little bit stubborn as we are moving forward. Sometimes he comes back and then just completely turns around and goes off in the other direction, and that's okay. You'll also notice that with the long line, I'm really using the long line a lot more with Larry than I was with Sasha. So you'll notice I'm just keeping a really small amount of leash pressure here just to give him a little bit of guidance. It's really essential that, especially when your dog is learning these concepts, that you have the long line on to give them the information that they need to know. When they're not doing it correctly, you can use the leash to just guide them into the position that you want. This is absolutely essential. Just working through our levels here really quickly, I started him out at a level 4. He tended to work best around a level 11, so I was just going up one level at a time until I found that sweet spot. Of course, your mileage will vary with your own dog. If you think that you can get away with lowering your e-collar level after you've increased it, of course, feel free to do so, and keep in mind that every dog is going to be different.
So both Larry and Sasha did great with their work today. So you're going to be working on this for the next week, and what you're going to be working on is starting to add distractions to your recall process. So you're going to do 2 sessions a day, quick 5 to 15 minute sessions, and you're going to make it fun, okay? So you're going to let them go out in range on the long line. You're going to say come, hit your tone button. If they come to you, throw them a party and make it fun when they come. If they ignore that initial command, you're going to hold down your red button until they turn around and start coming towards you. At that point, you'll release and you'll throw them a party and make it fun when they come back to you. If halfway towards you, they start to veer off, again, apply the continuous stimulation until they start coming back on track and release and throw them a party and make it lots of fun. So put in the time and we'll see you in 7 days.